Now, you've all flown in planes. You ever flown in a plane where they say we're going to be going through some turbulence, put on your seatbelts, or we're going to come to a storm front, we're going to go up, down, sideways, around, and so on, or we feel some headwinds, so we're going to be slowed down, or tailwinds, we're going to be speeded up. You heard all these things? Say yes. Okay. Do you ever hear the pilot say, "Oh, this stinks, I'm going back"? No! As far as the pilot goes, the pilot is going to that destination, by gum, and they will make whatever course corrections are necessary over, under, around, storm fronts, lightning, everything else, and they will get to that direction. Now, when you begin in this business, you're going to hit a lot of headwinds and a lot of storm fronts. You're going to have an enormous number of learning experiences, okay? And things will be up and down, but all of this business is course corrections. So when you make a mistake, it's just a course correction. What you do is you take it in, think, how can we learn from this and benefit? And then you just keep on flying. And if you keep on doing that, by gum, you will be successful. There's nothing that can stop you from succeeding except who? You. We can only stop from succeeding by stopping. and if you make a decision in advance, I will never give up. I will never give up. I will try this and I'll try that and I'll try this and I'll try that, but I will never give up until I reach my destination. That's one of the most important ways that you program yourself in advance, is that you'll never give up until you reach your destination. And then, when you face the inevitable disappointment and rejection, and you're feeling, think about quitting and what happens is something inside of you goes click, and say, boing, wait a minute. I don't give up. I never give up. I never quit. They have to drive a stake through my heart. You're like Jason on Friday the 13th, You keep coming back. You can't kill him because you keep going. Well, so action is the most important thing of all. And what do we say? If you do something repeatedly over and over, you develop a habit. And the habit is to take immediate action when you get a new idea. And just understand that most of the things you try won't work. At least they won't work the first time. I was talking to a gentleman in our business recently, and many people use this example. He said, what if I could wave a magic wand? Here's my magic wand. I could wave a magic wand, and I could guarantee that of every 10 people that you speak to, 9 of them will tell you to go to blazes, pound sand, stick it where the sun don't shine, throw you out in the street, swear at you, curse you, and tell you that your parents weren't married. 9 out of 10 guaranteed. But in exchange for you accepting that abuse, 1 out of 10 would sign up and become a consultant. If I could give you that guarantee, you'd all be rich. You'd all be rich. And you know what? I don't have to give you the guarantee, because the numbers aren't even 1 out of 10. They're probably 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. In other words, you don't have to suffer abuse 90% of the time. It's much, much less. I have some, we're talking about rejection. I was writing down some notes when you were talking. I work with a company that does sales, and every day everybody's a little bit tense about sales, and they do telephone sales. And so the sales manager came up with a great little way to start the day. Just before anybody starts on the phone, he sits down and he said, all right, we're going to have a contest. The contest, whoever gets rejected 10 times first gets lunch on the house. And they said, what? So get on the phones and get hammered. Go for it. And so what they do is they say, wait, 10, 9, 8, like the starting weight, ding, and everybody gets on the phone, and they're just as far as they go. And so they can get rejected as fast as they can. And then somebody comes back and says, darn, I got to stop and take an order. I mean, so I lost again. And so they couldn't get rejected 10 times because always somebody wanted to buy something. They're trying to burn through 10 rejections. Well, here's my suggestion to you, is make a decision to get up every morning and make it a game. See if you can't get rejected 10 times. See if you can't get rejected 10 times. Yeah, that's... And my promise to you, and everything that Chris has been recommending, my promise to you is that'll make you rich. You get up in the morning, 10, well, that didn't hurt. Maybe I'll get 10 more. All right? Go on. Make a joke. How many rejections did you get today? And you'll find, by the way, that the more people you talk to, the better you get. The more people you talk to, the quicker you get on answers. The more people you talk to, the fewer rejections you get. So the very act of aggressively seeking rejections will make you rich. And it'll also blow out all your fears. All your fears, it'll be like a roto-rooter of fears. It's like a Drano. You take that and you get rejections, and pretty soon you have no fear at all. And you'll find the most successful people in this business have no fear at all talking to anybody. I mean, I'll tell you, if they're standing at a bus stop, if that person uses electricity, they're going to walk away with discounts. All right. Isn't that true? That's a true statement. Anyway, I am really excited about this business. Well, I didn't know any of this when I started off. I started off very humbly. I did not graduate from high school. I finished in the half of the class that makes the top half possible. And They say everybody's good for something, even if it's just to be a bad example. Well, you know how parents used to talk about the boogeyman under the bed? Well, and in school, they used to say, I was the boogeyman. They'd say, if you don't smarten up, you'll end up like Tracy. And that would scare kids into doing their homework. You know? And I got suspended, expelled, thrown out of schools. And I finally left in 12th grade. I didn't graduate, and the only thing I could get was laboring jobs. And I worked, my first big job was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel. And my big promotion in those days was to pots and pans. And then when I lost that job, I got a job washing cars in a car lot. And when I lost that job, I got a job washing floors with the janitorial service. I actually thought washing was in my future. But it was a downhill trend. My wife has always given me things to wash. When we had children, it was babies' bottoms and dishes. And I said, why do you want me to wash these things? I don't want you to lose your edge. You know, you may need it again someday. That's great. And lost when you're young is a euphemism for non-voluntary career redeployment. This is where you get a chance to explore new careers unexpectedly. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. We have the most dynamic job market in the world in the U.S. They come to you at 5 to 12, or in these days they have severance programs to the end of the week or the end of the month. In those days, the severance program was to the end of the hour. And they come to you at the 5 to 12 or 5 to 5 with your paycheck. Say, here's your paycheck, you can go now, we don't need your services anymore. Obviously, non-negotiable. So I go from place to place and I'm looking for a job, and they say, well, you know, we don't need much help right now. I'm the right person for you, because I won't be much help. Anyway. So I worked at laboring jobs for several years, and then when I could no longer get a laboring job, like you, I got into sales. You know how we get into this business? You know how we become entrepreneurs and salespeople? It is essentially a default profession. We default into it when nothing else is working. It's like backing up in the night and hitting something, whoomp, and you get out to see what it is. It's a sales job. Or it's a position with Ambit, you know. Look at that one. And we say, well, it sounds pretty good, I'll give it a try. And 80% of the population, remember 80-20 never fails, the top 20% make 80% of the money. 80% of the population is still giving it a shot, giving it a try. They do as little as they need to do not to get fired. You ever notice, by the way, the traffic starts to jam up about 3:30 in the afternoon? That's all salespeople going home from work that don't get off till 5. You know, everybody's got a reason to quit for the day. Anyway, so I spun my wheels for 6 months. I was not afraid to go out there and get rejections. I used to run from place to place so I could get rejected more often. But what I got, which you have a great advantage here with Ambit, what I got was the 3-part sales training program that is common in most companies. Here's your cards, here's your brochures, there's the door. Go out there and hang in there, you know. Well, I would knock on doors, and one day I noticed that there's one guy in our company who was making 10 times as many sales as me. And so I went and asked him, I said, what are you doing differently from me? How come you're making so many sales? I still remember this because I found later that nobody had ever asked him. I find that nobody ever asks the top people. It's very seldom. Nobody's got up and says, please tell me, why is it you're so successful? What do you attribute your success to? People just look at them when they're on the stage and, wow, they must have a special gene or chromosome that makes it possible. Well, he said, well, show me your presentation. I'll critique it for you. I said, my what? I knew there was such a thing, but I'd never seen one. I said, you show me yours and I'll show you mine. I said, by the way, how do you define a sales presentation? He said, well, a sales presentation is a logical and orderly process where, first of all, you separate prospects from suspects. You don't beat your head against the wall talking to people who have no interest. Second of all, you build rapport with them so they like and trust you by asking questions. Third of all, you identify their needs. You ask them where they want to be in 3 to 5 years, whether it's in savings or in terms of financial income, or where they want to be in 10 years in terms of financial freedom, so that you're talking about something that is of interest to them. What did they put up here on the board? People's questions, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Find out what would cause them to take action. That's identifying their needs. And then fourth of all, present Ambit as the very best choice. All things considered, this is the perfect choice for you based on what you told me you want. People don't argue with their own data. One of the great rules is they argue with you if you tell them it's a good idea. They don't argue